area this morning. You can see live pictures of Ballantyne, Kannapolis, Monroe, Dallas. I'll tell you from our Anson County new Lilsville camera, it does look like some sun is coming through and one of the views from Monroe as well. We will stay mostly cloudy through at least lunchtime before the sun eventually starts to kind of break a little bit. Oh, I just realized I have two hair ties, John. Good morning, Daniel. Hope you're having a great day. Part of the reason why, of course, we have the low cloud cover this morning is because of the storm system that's down to our south. Let's see if the graphics want to go forward. And that is really pumping up and cranking up the humidity. I feel like I show these graphics a lot, but it's to kind of give you guys some context. The dew point is the measure of moisture in the atmosphere. The higher it is, the higher potential we have to be humid. Something like 77 in Chirac is really something you would see in South Florida. I mentioned this on air this morning. And honestly, even 77 would still be high for South Florida. So the fact that we're there just shows how muggy we are. I feel like the last time I saw this was when we had some kind of tropical system nearby. Of course, in this case, it's not the case. It's just this low, bringing us all that moisture coming in from the south. 72 in Charlotte, really, really muggy air. When you get 72 and you have highs in the 90s, that's how you get a heat index value over 100. And you know it's muggy when Boone is in the uncomfortable category with a 66-degree dew point. So I would prepare for it is already, but will continue to be the muggiest air of the year so far. Even if we don't actually have the hottest weekend of the year so far, it is still the muggiest of the weekend of the year so far. So because of that low cloud cover this morning and a lot of moisture, I have been tracking a few light showers, even a little bit of drizzle. Right now, Mecklenburg County, southern Cabarrus, and over towards Stanley County, we have a little bit of that action there. Let's head a little bit further west. As you can see, a few showers still on the east side there of Lake Wylie on the Mecklenburg County side, as well as on the west side and the York County side, and some of that light rain toward Clover as well. Now, what you're going to notice, and I try to kind of draw these on since I don't have the ability to actually draw them on live, but essentially you can see all of this heavy rain. I don't know if Monica, if there's a way you can drop the super for a second so they can see the heavy rain. Thank you so much. But Greenville, Spartanburg, look at all of that mess down toward Greenville, Spartanburg, Augusta. Gross, gross, gross. You can see, oh, that's not Greenville, Spartanburg. I meant Augusta. I'm sorry, that's a little bit further south. Columbia, a little bit of light to moderate rain there too. And you'll notice a lot of those heavier pockets of rain have resulted in a tiny little flash flood warning near Augusta. Now, that's kind of where the center of circulation is. Where we are, of course, we're on the outer edges of it. So because low pressure systems spin counterclockwise, I kind of tried to draw on the motion here for you. That's why we're seeing that movement kind of from the southeast toward the north and west. So that's why we are going to see some of those light showers making their way, especially into Chesterfield County, Chester County, and Lancaster County. But I don't think we're really going to see a lot of that activity reach all the way to the Charlotte metro. And a lot of the cloud cover, of course, is kind of streaming in the same way, which is why this morning, boom, we had a few areas with a lot of sunshine. So there's where that weak low pressure spin is now. You can kind of see that again. The center circulation looks like it's jumped a little bit further west, but earlier this morning it was right on the edge there between Georgia and South Carolina. Now, eventually, an approaching cold front from the northwest is going to start to move in, and that's really going to be kind of the driving factor to get that mess out of here. So the trough of low pressure moves north into the Charlotte metro area. That's what kind of prompts our storms later on today. We got more lift because of the trough, more instability because the sun eventually comes out, and heat and humidity. But finally, the front comes through and it kind of says, no, 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 kind of slaps it out of the way. Not really, but to kind of give you an idea. This is what's going to eventually bring us some slightly drier air as we enter the middle part or the early and middle part of the upcoming week. However, we are still going to see a slightly drier day Sunday in comparison to what we're seeing today. But both days, it's kind of the same song and dance like what we had last Sunday. You can see a 20 30% chance of rain, but if it storms right over your house, to you, right, that's a wet day. But to someone who lives 5 miles east and you don't see anything, that's not a wet day. Last Sunday, I was visiting a friend in Fort Mill and it was pouring on the highway, even some of that flooding in Carowinds Boulevard versus people in Pineville, South Charlotte were telling me what we didn't see anything. So it kind of just gives you some perspective. Any storms that do develop both today and tomorrow because of the measure of moisture will have heavy rainfall, flooding potential, just localized, not anything widespread across the area, and of course the heat and humidity. Now today, because we have the early clouds, I'm expecting us only to get close to about 100, 101. Tomorrow we'll likely get a little bit higher just because of more sunshine with that cold front moving through. But eventually, I mean, upper 80s, lower 90s for the upcoming work week. Still feeling a few degrees hotter, just not as hot as what we've seen so far this past few days and looking ahead. Will asking, he's going to Asheville this evening. Will the weather be super severe or will it not last? Will, I don't know your definition of super severe, um, but there will be the storm system coming in this evening. I do think that the Asheville area, I believe, is under, let me double check, a low risk of strong to severe storms. So similar to us, but gusty winds, frequent lightning, heavy rain, all of that mess still going to be a possibility. Yeah, it looks like, so yeah, so Asheville is included in our risk, which is low. So yes, there is the chance of a few strong storms and some of those becoming severe, but 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts is the primary threat. So if you're staying inside, maybe for short periods of time, or you don't have outdoor activities, then you should be good to go. Futurecast radar, let's look at the rest of today and heading into the evening because I do think we'll have a better chance of storms today compared to what we'll see tomorrow. Futurecast radar right now, you can kind of see some of those showers that we've been tracking lingering. Let's see if it'll move forward. There it goes. But eventually we have heavy rain, frequent lightning, gusty winds coming in with this line this evening. This will be right around about 7, 8, 9 o'clock between that 2 hour window. I think for the Charlotte metro area, if it speeds up a little bit, it'll be closer to 7, slows down a little bit, it'll be closer to 9. Now, again, it's not going to be for the entire area. There will kind of be some breaks. This will be what we call literally a broken line of storms, but we will still have heavy rain, frequent lightning, gusty winds, all a possibility. It doesn't look like this wraps up until very early on Sunday morning. We had a night like this the other night. I believe it was either Thursday night or Wednesday night that we had some of that rain lingering into the very early morning hours. Now on Sunday, again, I do still think we'll have some isolated storms as the front's moving in, but I don't think it'll be as aggressive, as widespread as what we'll see tonight, but still heavy rain, frequent lightning, all that good stuff with some of these storms coming in. It's kind of the threshold this time of year. We can get afternoon storms almost every single afternoon, but it's will they actually get to the 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts? And it's very easy to do so here in the Carolinas. Plus, the fact our ground is really saturated, so any wind gusts you have pretty much over 50 miles per hour can take down trees and maybe even power lines. I know we had some trees down that were blocking a portion of I-40 eastbound yesterday. We had multiple reports of trees and power lines down for those storms that we had up at Burke County, Caldwell County, and into Avery County too. And I believe in Stanley County as well as we got closer to about 7:30 p.m. So today, storms late in the day. Most of the day will be dry. Feels like temperatures reaching the borderline 100, 101, still in the 90s. Eventually, the sun will break in a few spots, but we will still expect clouds to at least linger for the majority of the morning. Tomorrow, more breaks in the cloud cover as we're mostly sunny. 95, which would match the hottest temperature of the year so far, would be the 5th time we've hit it, and feels like temperatures around 103. And then we are slightly drier. I say slightly cooler, upper 80s for a few days this upcoming work week. So today, I really think I want to drive home. Of course, the storms are a big deal if you are going to be outside late in the evening, but the heat and humidity, that's going to be a big thing. People will see the clouds this morning and they'll think, oh, the cloud cover won't be as bad as they were thinking. And while that is true of maybe the forecast from a few days ago, it is still going to be really hot. It is still going to be really humid. And your body temperature, pretty much as soon as you get above about 95 degrees, that's when you start to feel kind of those effects of I can't cool off as easily because it is so hot outside. The humidity levels are so high. It kind of prevents when the humidity is high, our sweating mechanisms, the natural mechanisms to happen. It can make it harder to cool yourself down naturally. And it is the same thing for pets. I talked to a vet actually yesterday, and for them, it's closer to about 90. So a little bit lower than their threshold is lower, and especially susceptible if you have an elderly pet, a young puppy, or maybe a pet, who suffers from things like heart disease. So please stay safe, keep your pets safe. And don't forget to check on maybe your elderly neighbors, your young nieces and nephews, your children, things of that nature. We will have a nice break for the upcoming weeks. If you have a few days off for this week, it will be not the worst. Again, have a happy, healthy, safe Saturday, and I'll see you guys tomorrow morning starting at 6 a.m. on Wake Up Charlotte Weekend. Have a great day.